Hello again and welcome to another Mordy and Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode we will be going through step by step not one but two different lists built around triple Rogal Dorn battle tank. That's right, it's a double doozy. Now I am heavily considering both of these lists and you guys will get to have your say on which one you think is better and which one you think I should take to the tournament. And so without further ado, let's not mess around any further. Let's mount up, roll out and drive right into today's episode.
Attention guardsmen, the Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty of this army list, I want to cover a couple of key points. Firstly, you may be wondering why I'm looking at triple Rogal Dorn. Well, with the recent Munitorum field manual, these big beasties went down to only 240 points. So you can squeeze 3 of them into your list quite easily, and I think it's a really cool idea to bring a heavy tank brigade. Really see what these things can do. On top of this, both of the lists that we're going to look at today will be mechanized guard lists, featuring lots of infantry inside chimeras. This is to adapt to the changes in the balanced data slate, where vehicles with squadron, which chimeras have, they have that keyword, get lethal hits when shooting against other vehicles and monsters, and also with the fact that the reinforcement stratagem is now only once per game, and so big blobs are a lot less spammable and they don't have as much staying power. So this list here is really what I've been cooking, what I've been coming up with, whilst I've been thinking about those changes and how the guard can improvise, adapt and overcome. So with all of that said, let us batten down the hatches and deep dive this army list. Starting off with the characters. This army today is led by 2 tank commanders, both of which are equipped with demolisher cannons and hull las cannons. One of them has gone for the plasma cannon sponsons and the other one has gone for the heavy bolters. I got a bit of a feeling that heavy bolters are going to be making a comeback and I want to try these out on one of the tank commanders, but I'd happily swap this out for another set of plasma sponsons as well. The one over on the right hand side here in the Commissar tank colour scheme is also going to be enhanced with the Grand Strategist enhancement, so he can do 2 orders. This gives us 3 tank orders in this army, which is perfect for the 3 big boys that we're bringing along for the fight. Triple Rogal Dorn battle tank, and they're all equipped exactly the same way. We have got oppressor cannons with coaxial autocannon, we've got triple heavy stubber, and we are going to go for the pulverizer cannon in the front as well. On the sponsons, I've actually again mixed things up a little bit here. Normally I'd go multi-melters, but I'm going to try out lots of heavy bolters and really see if I can stack up those lethal hits and sustained hits as well. Each one of these Rogal Dorns is able to put out an ungodly amount of firepower and generate a lot of lethal hits. If you add up the averages from the battle cannons and the pulverizer cannons, plus all the stubbers and the heavy bolters and all that good stuff, each one of these vehicles should be putting out 36 shots a turn. And I am tempted to see what happens with those castigated Gatling cannons as well. I really want to up the lethal hit potential. With many of these shots being damage 2 and flat damage 3, I'm hoping that the reliability of these weapons is going to allow me to consistently tear chunks out of bigger opponents, enemy vehicles, enemy monsters, whilst also having the volume to scythe down hordes and a lot of the battle line which is being anticipated with Pariah Nexus. But it's not all about the firepower. Well, okay it is, but we do have to take into account primary and secondary objectives as well, and this is where my mechanized infantry corps comes into play. I am going to be using 6 chimeras, and each one of these chimeras is going to contain a squad of 10 Kaschan jungle fighters. This is going to give me 6 armoured vehicles which can benefit from the scout special rule as well, thanks to the fact that all of the guys inside.
Attention guardsmen, the Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
have scouts, and they pass that on to the dedicated transports. Now, each one of these chimeras is going to be equipped with a Dakar loadout. We're going for double heavy bolter. Again, you sense a theme here. We're spamming them heavy bolters, and we're going to have a heavy stubber. Of course, we're going to have the las gunner rays and the hunter killer missiles as well. Now, interestingly, each one of these vehicles is going to be generating 24 shots. So each chimera could be creating 4 lethal hits a turn and a couple of sustained hits as well, maybe from the heavy bolters. So there's a lot of potential here. If each one of these is generating 4 lethal hits, then we are looking at 24 lethal hits a turn. Now, many of these lethal hits aren't going to be of the same caliber as the Rogal Dorns, because half of the shots are coming from those las gunner range if we're in rapid fire range, but still, it can absolutely stack up. And naturally, of course, we do have the double flamer from the Kachan squads inside as well, giving us some automatic hitting anti-infantry goodness too. Now, I have run a lot of mechanized lists in my time, and I have learned the hard way to never leave home with less than 6 armored fist squads. I've tried running 5, I've tried running 4, and I always feel like I don't quite have enough battle line. By having these 6 squads, it will allow me to push forward early thanks to Scout, lock down those objectives, but most importantly, secure them because of the amount of objective control and battle line that we have contained in each one of these metal boxes. These guys are really going to be focusing on screening as well as focusing on those primary objectives. And speaking of objectives, we do also have to cover and consider secondary objectives, and that's why I have seasoned this list. I've put the cherry on top with a couple of Scion squads. Now, I have moved away somewhat from going double Cyclops demolition vehicle because you now need objective control in order to do a lot of actions and secondary objectives like deploying teleporter home and stuff like that. So I've gone for these 2 Scion squads. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive than going double Cyclops demolition vehicle, but this does give me 2 units which can deep strike down as and when I need them. If I draw behind enemy lines or deploy teleporter home at turn 2 or 3, I can do them easy peasy. So it's 100 points in the list. It's 5% of the overall allowance with the 2,000 point limit and all that you get for a lot of tournaments, and it just really secured a lot of the secondary game for me. So bringing all of this together, in total we will be running 11 vehicles in this list. 5 of them are going to be heavy tanks and 6 of them are going to be our transports and our infantry fighting vehicles. I do think that this list does have the firepower to go toe-to-toe with even the most lethal armies out there, and it's also got the ability to dominate on primary, and it's got just enough secondary game to cover itself. But if I'm being honest, there is one big weakness with this list, and that is a lack of indirect fire. Now, I know the Guard Artillery Corps has taken a bit of a beating here, but I still think you need a little bit of indirect fire, and this is where the second list comes in. And here it is. Now, many of the aspects of the second list are similar to that of the first. For example, of course, we still have the triple Rogal Dorn, and we've also still got 6 armoured fist squads. And we've also kept the 2 squads of Scions that will be deep striking down for secondaries. Where things have changed is we have lost the 2 tank commanders and instead replaced it with 2 basilisks, and we've also got a supreme command blob there with the Lord Solar. Now, we have lost no orders with this army. The Lord Solar can do his 3 orders, and he can of course target those 3 Rogal Dorns. The disadvantage, of course, with this setup is that we have lost a lot of firepower from those 2 tank commanders. The advantage of this setup is our orders can go on the Rogal Dorns, but if they die, thanks to this guy having a 24-inch range because of the Master Vox and that good stuff, he can do those orders on some chimeras and stuff if he needs to. Whereas the tank commanders have only got a 12-inch range on their orders, and if they're out of position or one of their charges dies, then they might not have a good target for the order. So a little bit less firepower for a lot more order flexibility. We've also got the fact that we now have indirect fire. And this will add a bit of the lost firepower back into the army, but I don't think 2 Basilisks will make up for 2 Demolisher Cannon tank commanders, I'll be honest with you there. But by having this bit of indirect fire, it means that we will be able to target those units out of line of sight. So if our opponents do have a cheap unit that's sitting on an objective and it's just getting them loads of points, be it secondaries or prime or whatever, and I just can't get to it with my direct firepower stuff, I have some assets that I can draw upon to be able to remove that annoyance and hopefully throw a spanner in the works of my opponent. Now, one last thing to mention, one last change between these 2 lists is the infantry corps. In the last list, I had 6 units of Catachan Jungle Fighters and they were all in the Chimeras. But of course, if I'm taking a Supreme Command Blob and I'm using a Catachan squad and a Platoon Command squad and the Lord Solar to make up that, then I can't have 6 Catachans in here, because that would take me to a total of 7 Catachan squads, and battle line, you can only take a limit of 6 of each battle line choices. So what I've done is I've basically taken one of the Catachan units and used it to make the Supreme Command Blob, and then what I've done is I've taken one of the Armored Fist squads, and because I was bang on the points here, so I couldn't upgrade one of the old Catachan units to a Cajun squad or a Krieg squad or anything like that. What I've done is I've actually taken a unit of Scions. So that's why this Chimera is in green now, and this unit of Scions over here is in a different colour scheme. So essentially what this means is the army is going to consist of these Scions starting off on the board in a dedicated transport. I've made it visually distinct so my opponent can easily tell what is in each Chimera, and then I've still got a couple of Scion units that will be deep striking down. So in total for the second army, we've got 3 Dawns, we've got 2 Basilisks, we've got Supreme Command Blob, we've got 6 Chimeras, 5 of which have got Catachans inside, 1 of which has got a 5-man Scion unit inside, and then we've got 2 more Scion units, which will be deep striking down and doing secondaries. But the big question is, which one of these lists should I take? Well, you know what? Let me know down in the comments section which one you prefer. Do you like having the indirect fire, or do you like having the bigger boom boom of the tank commanders? Also, one last interesting question to throw your way is, what about that Chimera loadout? I've really gone for the heavy bolter spam at the moment, but if I'm taking lots of flamers with the Catachans, I could swap the Chimera weapons out to use double heavy flamer rather than double heavy bolter. I do have 6 of these double heavy flamer turrets, so I could actually give every single Chimera double heavy flamer and then have double flamer from the Catachans in there as well. But that just about covers everything. Don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.